The galaxy was vast, filled with wonders and horrors in equal measure. Among the stars, countless civilizations thrived, but not all were free. The Zorathian Empire was notorious for its cruelty, enslaving weaker species and exploiting them for labor, entertainment, or worse. It was on one of their trading outposts that the story of Captain Elias Grant and the alien woman named Lyra began. Elias was a human, a rarity in this part of the galaxy. Humans were newcomers to the interstellar stage, but they had quickly earned a reputation for their resilience, ingenuity, and, most importantly, their sense of justice. Elias was no exception. A former soldier turned freelance pilot, he had seen his share of the galaxy's darkness. But nothing could have prepared him for what he encountered on Zorathian Outpost Delta 9. The outpost was a sprawling, grimy hub of commerce, where the Empire's slaves were bought and sold like cattle. Elias had docked his ship, the Starblade, to refuel and resupply. As he wandered the market, his eyes were drawn to a commotion near a slave auction block. A crowd had gathered, jeering and shouting as a Zorathian slaver dragged a chained figure onto the platform. She was unlike any alien Elias had ever seen. Her skin was a soft, iridescent blue, shimmering faintly under the harsh lights. Her hair, long and silvery, cascaded down her back like a waterfall of starlight. Her eyes, large and luminous, were filled with a mixture of fear and defiance. She was slender, her frame delicate, but there was a strength in her posture that spoke of resilience. The slaver barked out her attributes to the crowd. "This one's a rare catch. Illyrian, intelligent, obedient, and perfect for, companionship. Who'll start the bidding?" Elias felt a surge of anger. He had seen slavery before, but something about this woman struck a chord deep within him. He couldn't just walk away. Pushing through the crowd, he stepped forward. "I'll take her." The slaver grinned, revealing rows of sharp, yellow teeth. "A human, eh? You've got good taste. Starting bid is 500 credits." Elias didn't hesitate. "I'll give you 1,000. The crowd murmured in surprise. The slaver's grin widened. "Sold." As the chains were removed and the woman was handed over, Elias could see the confusion in her eyes. She didn't trust him, why would she? To her, he was just another master. But Elias had no intention of keeping her as a slave. Once they were back on the Starblade, Elias turned to her. "What's your name?" She hesitated, then spoke in a soft, melodic voice. "Lyra." "Lyra," Elias repeated. "I'm Elias. You're safe now. I'm not going to hurt you." Lyra's eyes widened in disbelief. You freed me?" "I did," Elias said. "You're not a slave anymore. You're free to go wherever you want." Tears welled up in Lyra's eyes. "I have nowhere to go. My people were wiped out by the Zorathians. I'm the last of my kind." Elias felt a pang of sorrow. "Then you can stay with me, if you want. I could use a co-pilot." Lyra nodded, a small smile breaking through her tears. "I would like that." Over the following weeks, Lyra proved to be an invaluable companion. She was intelligent and quick to learn, mastering the Starblade systems in no time. She also had a gentle, calming presence that Elias found comforting. As they traveled together, they grew closer, sharing stories of their pasts and dreams for the future. But their peace was short-lived. The Zorathians didn't take kindly to losing one of their slaves, especially a rare Lyrian. A bounty was placed on Elias's head, and soon they were being pursued by Zorathian bounty hunters. One fateful day, as they were making a supply run on a remote planet, they were ambushed. A group of bounty hunters surrounded them, their weapons trained on Elias and Lyra. "Hand over the Lyrian, human," the lead hunter snarled. "And maybe we'll let you live." Elias stepped in front of Lyra, shielding her with his body. "Over my dead body." The hunter laughed. "That can be arranged." Before the hunters could open fire, Lyra did something unexpected. She stepped forward, her hands glowing with a soft, blue light. With a wave of her hand, she sent a pulse of energy that knocked the hunters off their feet. Elias stared at her in shock. "What was that?" Lyra looked at him, her eyes filled with a mixture of guilt and determination. "I didn't tell you everything about my people. We were not just intelligent, we had abilities. The Zorathians wanted to exploit them. That's why they destroyed my world." Elias nodded, understanding dawning on him. "You're full of surprises, Lyra." From that day on, Lyra began to embrace her abilities, using them to help Elias in their missions. Together, they became a formidable team, taking on jobs that others wouldn't dare. They also made it their mission to free other slaves, striking at the Zorathian Empire wherever they could. As time passed, their bond deepened. What had started as a partnership grew into something more. One evening, as they sat together on the Starblade's observation deck, watching the stars, Elias turned to Lyra. "Lyra, I don't know how to say this, but I love you." Lyra's eyes softened, and she reached out to take his hand. "I love you too, Elias." They kissed, their love transcending the boundaries of species and the scars of their pasts. In each other, they had found a home. Years later, the Zorathian Empire fell, thanks in no small part to the efforts of Elias and Lyra. They had become legends, their names whispered in awe across the galaxy. But to each other, they were simply husband and wife. On a quiet planet far from the reaches of the old empires, they built a life together. They had a small home, a garden filled with flowers from Lyra's homeworld, and a family. Their children, a blend of human and Lyrian, were a symbol of hope and unity. As Elias sat on the porch, watching the sunset with Lyra by his side, he reflected on their journey. They had started as strangers, brought together by fate and bound by love. Together, they had overcome the darkness and found light. And as the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Elias knew that their story was just one of many in the vast tapestry of the galaxy. But to him, it was the most important one of all.